Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel if you are a returning viewer. If you're not, welcome. My name is Joshua. I'm a photographer. I like to shoot wildlife and a lot of other varieties of subjects, but anything that's with nature and the outdoors, that's my passion. Today I have a review for you. It's for a tripod. So with wildlife photography in particular, a tripod is a pretty important piece of equipment to keep all of your equipment stable so you can get smooth video footage or just really sharp pictures. So I wanted to talk about the tripod that I use. This is the Ulanzi TT09 Video Go tripod, and I feel like it's one that not a lot of people know about or talk about. It's not one of the more popular ones or incredibly high-end for some of the really pro photographers, but it's a solid tripod nonetheless, and I wanted to share my thoughts on it. It's a carbon fiber travel tripod, so it's pretty small, it's pretty lightweight, but I would say for the value, it packs a punch and does a good job at what it's supposed to do. I just want to go over a few of the features before I get into kind of how I use it. Obviously, the main feature is being the size and weight of it. It's meant to be very small, so you can take it with you wherever you go. It packs down really, really small. This fits in a water bottle pouch on your backpack. To compare it to the tripod that I used to use, this is some random tripod that I got off of Amazon. I mean, I can rotate the head on this to slim it down a little bit more, but you can already see that the way that this one bulks out compared to this takes up a lot less space. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted to be able to bring it with me and change it out to this tripod. So definitely size and weight are the biggest selling point of this thing. It has a few leg sections that are the clasp variant. So you'll undo them, extend it, close them all together, and then it has a center column that you can untwist, and it gives you probably about an extra foot or so of height. With everything fully extended, this pretty much reaches a comfortable height of having the camera just about head level. With this down, it's a little bit more like chest level, but either way, it's a perfectly comfortable height in my opinion. I usually don't use this center column as much just because it doesn't help with stability, and I don't really find that I need to actually give my camera the height to get the shot that I want, and I can just flip out the monitor on my camera to give me the shot. So legs, center column, and then we have the head. So this is a video head tripod, and the reason that I chose the video head is that for filming in particular, which I wanted to start forcing myself to get into, a video head is definitely going to be a lot better for filming, especially if you're trying to track subjects, and it gives a lot more stable, steady footage, I think, compared to a ball head, and it's more easy for me to manipulate and move my camera to where I want it to be pointing, even for just photography. With a ball head, I find it rather cumbersome to undo the ball head and kind of shift it around. It rotates on so many axes that you have to make sure you're keeping it straight, you know, this way, and it's more of a hassle than I think it's worth. With this, as long as I'm on even ground, I know that whenever I turn it, it's gonna stay level, and whenever I do this, it's not gonna, you know, magically rotate on the other axis. But the video tripod is very solid for what I need it for, and I think that, you know, given the use case that I have for it, if you have similar use case, if you want to do footage, if you want to have really steady shots, I think that with how compact this video head is, it can hold a slightly larger wildlife setup, big camera, big lens, so I wouldn't worry about it not being able to hold the weight. I would recommend personally that a video head might be a little bit more useful than a ball head for something where you just want absolute flexibility maybe a ball head, but I still think that this has an edge, and I'm gonna get into that right now. And that is, this also does feature a ball head. If you can see right here, there's a lever that allows me to undo that clasp, and this will rotate just like a ball head. It doesn't have as much degree of freedom as a traditional ball head, but it gets pretty close. And it does in fact have a cutout for 90-degree tilts, although I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that with anything unless it's a really light camera and lens setup. But this particular tripod has the stability and smooth picture and video functionality of a video head with the flexibility of a ball head, which is why I think it's really fantastic. It also comes with a video manipulation handle. So if you don't want to be using the camera itself to try and give yourself pans or tilts, you can use this and it'll help you give you a little bit more stability, I think, than putting your hands on the camera itself. But it also comes with a built-in screwdriver, and then you have several different bits located in the base of the handle here. Probably just about everything that you would need as a photographer out in the field. I don't really find myself using this that much, except for just one bit for the screws at the base plate for my camera. But if you do have some other specialized gear or any other gear that you're taking, it could be useful to have a screwdriver. That way you don't have to remember to pack a separate one. So this is great for being able to manipulate the camera. And then there are a few different dials here. This one right here will move the handle to a different position. And then on the opposite side, we have the tension knob for the video fluid head. So the more you loosen it, the easier it is going to be to manipulate, and then the more you tighten it back down, it's going to be a little bit stiffer and you're going to have to put a little bit more force in. But that also means that whenever you're doing video work, or if you want to actually keep your tripod steady on one particular subject, if you lock this down all the way, it'll kind of hold your camera there so that you don't lose position on a bird that you're waiting to take off or something like that. I also find it particularly useful for astrophotography, for the moon in particular. I like taking a lot of photos of the moon, and with my old tripod, this one right here, this is a more traditional ball head, and this is just some random brand Mac trim that I got from Amazon, and it was nice for whenever I first started out. But the problem with this ball head is, because it was so small, and I think just the nature of a ball head itself, it tended to sag a lot whenever I would try and lock it in onto a position, and if my camera wasn't kind of more like back heavy, it would sag down slowly in the frame whenever I would try and tighten it. Whereas with the carbon fiber video tripod, once I lock this into position, it's not moving at all. Also the pan knob here, so there's a little pan knob, and then at the very top we have an Arca Swiss cutout for the tripod head. It's built more for the square plates. It runs this way, so if you have a really long plate on like a lens foot or something, it's gonna want to put your lens in sideways, so that could be a drawback, and I've noticed that personally a few times. It's a little bit frustrating that you're only able to use the square plate, but it's something that I can live with. I don't change out the feet on my lenses. I just use the base foot, and then I put on like a small f/38 or a Peak Design square plate, and that works just fine for me. So you put that plate in, has two little pins to lock it into place so it doesn't shift whenever you're slowly loosening it, and then it has a locking knob up here. I've never had any problems with this tipping, sliding, doing anything where I felt like my gear was unsafe. It's very solid and it feels well constructed, so overall I would say it's a pretty solid tripod. That being said, this is a carbon fiber travel tripod. So it's a lot lighter, which means it has less mass to it and might make your setup overall a little bit less steady. So I tend to avoid using the center column, as I mentioned before, because that decreases your stability, brings your camera up higher, and it gives kind of 1 point of contact for your camera versus whenever it's a little bit lower. It's centered closer to 3 points of contact with the 3 tripod legs. So if you want it to be the most stable possible, definitely don't use the center column. If you're not worried about it, then use it. But as light as it is, it's still pretty stable. I think really it's just going to be in extreme environments, really heavy wind, or I don't know, if there's some place where you're on a bridge or something over a waterfall, it might exhibit a little bit more vibration and shake in the camera. So keep that in mind. But overall, despite it being one of the lighter travel tripods, it is pretty solid in terms of its stability. All right, now to just kind of showcase how easy it is to do this quickly. All the legs have 4 segments here, so you can just put 1 finger on each, rotate it around, and then you got pretty quick access to all of them. You can just go around the tripod like that to close them all off. So I know a lot of people like the twisting mechanism for the tripod legs, but this is pretty convenient as well. I think I would probably prefer twisting, but this was not available. But the rest of the features is what I primarily bought the tripod for, so can't really be too picky with these things. And I will show you with a camera mounted on this system. All right, so I've got my camera set up on the tripod now. It's pretty easy, as I mentioned before, with the square plate. It just mounts right in there. It has those 2 little pins to make sure that it doesn't shift whenever you're mounting it, and it's pretty stable. I can see already that's a little bit crooked, so there's the benefit of having the additional ball head underneath the video head, so I can kind of just level it out. That way it gives me the flexibility of having a traditional ball head, and then I have incredibly smooth, easy panning that I know is going to be level. And then on this side, I have the locking knob for the tilt forward and backward. And then depending on, how much resistance I want, I can either have it very quick, very easy to move, or I can tighten it down a little bit. It's a little bit stiffer. It's not going to come across great in the video, or I can really lock it down. It's a lot stiffer. And also, it's not quite the same as a gimbal, but I think that a great advantage of this is that you can lock it down in whatever position and it's going to hold it. I don't find it too cumbersome to trying to have to unlock it and lock it every time I want to change a position. I think it's so easy, just a quick twist, and it'll be ready to go on whatever position that I want to frame up with. So it's a really great flexible system. I have on here the Sony A1 II and the new 100 to 400 4.5. Not the heaviest setup, but it is larger. It's meant for wildlife or sports or whatever. So it's a bigger lens, heavier overall setup, and this thing holds it just fine. As I mentioned before, I had that old tripod, and it would just sag a little bit every time I would try and lock it in on a frame. This one, if I lock it in, once it's locked, it's not sagging at all. So it's pretty sturdy. Overall, this tripod, I think, I don't see it out there enough, but for what it offers, it's a really great tripod, especially for something like wildlife or video work or anything like that, because it has the flexibility of having a video head, having a ball head underneath it, so you have kind of a 2-in-1, as well as being so absolutely light and compact, being a carbon fiber travel tripod, that it's really not a hassle for me to take it anywhere. It adds a little bit of bulk and a little bit of weight, and compared to everything else in my bag, it's a drop in the bucket. So if you are in the market for a tripod, you're not really sure Don't necessarily get this one, but I would definitely recommend something with a video head for wildlife or something like that. If you can get one combined with that little baseball head, that's the sweet spot, I think. But overall, yeah, the Video Go TT09, great tripod from Ulanzi. They have a few other similar carbon fiber travel tripods. Those are also probably pretty great as well. But yeah, this is really solid, great tripod that I really like ever since I got it. I can add weight to the bottom of the center column here if I want to try and weigh it down, give it some extra mass, give it some extra stability. But I don't really think it needs it for what I need it for. Thanks for tuning in. If you are watching and if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. I'm just starting this channel out, so thanks for sticking around, and I'll be uploading more stuff as time goes on. If you like what you saw here, please follow along and subscribe. Thanks, guys. See you out there.